It has been a mission of mine to be able to eat as much as possible without fat gain. And this is really a selfish desire of mine because back when I was 300 pounds, I felt as if I could not really eat that much food, yet I would gain fat very easily. After a few years of a lot of research and self-experimentation, I can say though that I have finally done it. I now eat 3,700 calories per day, I have solved a lot of health issues, and most importantly, I've kept the weight off. So what is the one thing that you can do to eat more without fat gain? Well, it's very simple. You cut out seed oils. Seed oils are mainly vegetable oils such as canola, soy, corn, safflower, and grapeseed. They are a group of essential fatty acids, also known as polyunsaturated fatty acids, and it's broken up to omega-3 and omega-6s. And today I'm going to talk specifically about one of the omega-6s, and that is called linoleic acid. This is the one that has been very detrimental to our food supply, and I do believe that it is one of the absolute primary drivers of obesity in America. And it is very clear in the data that when this oil is consumed in high amounts, of course everyone in America is, you see a very much correlation between obesity and health problems. Of course, correlation is not causation, but you can use your own mind and you can determine this for yourself. And what's wild to me is that these oils did not even exist until the late 1800s. And prior to this 20th century, the average intake of linoleic acid was under 2% of the total daily calorie intake. The biological optimal range is approximately 1 to 2%, but current linoleic acid consumption is over 25% of total calorie daily intake for the average person. The consumption of linoleic acid at these levels lowers the metabolic rate. And what's even more insidious is that these fats stay in your system for nearly 2 years or 680 days. And all that fat that you have right now that you need to lose, well, it is loaded with this fat. I'm going to tell you why that is dangerous for fat loss. So what happens when you go through weight loss? You end up burning fat. And linoleic acid is oxidized very easily due to the fragile double bonds that are in it. What this means is that it's like a frag grenade going off in your system, and it causes a lot of shrapnel to go off, telling your other hormones and mitochondria to, hey, we need to take cover and get away from all this damage. And that's what happens is that these shrapnel pieces are two byproducts of linoleic acid called 4-HNE and oxalams, and that is the real killer. Following that, now your body is in a state where it is compromised and you have a lot of what is called free radical damage within your system. This has other implications as well, and the ones I want to talk about specifically for fat loss is going to be its impact on thyroid, your sex hormones, and your mitochondria. And to show you what happens, this is very prevalent in the food industry when it comes to our animals. So the essential fatty acids, which are now fed to pigs to fatten them in the form of corn and soybeans, cause the animal's fat to be chemically equivalent to vegetable oil. In the late 1940s, chemical toxins were used to suppress the thyroid function of pigs to make them get fatter while eating less food. And the reason for that is that the food that you ate to put on the weight is the stuff you have to burn off at the same time. So if you put your weight on with a lot of fast food and processed consumption of these seed oils, you now have to go through the whole entire detrimental time to oxidize this, which causes a 25 to 30% reduction in the metabolic rate. That is why I could not eat as much food as I do now, yet I was a lot fatter. And what's even more dangerous is that we are being told to continue to eat less calories and that calories in and calories out is the way to go. Yet it always works until it doesn't. And that's what happened. When I kept eating and reducing calories, I just got sicker. I became more frail. My hormones got negatively impacted in a very strong way and caused me a lot of damage otherwise. And what happens when we go on a diet that just reduces calorie intake as a whole without changing our food is that we will eventually have to run into these problems and we will have to oxidize all these PUFAs and cause a very detrimental effect on our metabolic rate. And I've noticed this pattern over and over again. If people are going on Ozempic or a low-calorie diet without changing anything of the food that they eat, as soon as they go back to a normal diet and eat a typical amount for their body size, well, they gain fat very easily because their metabolic rate is so low. And now they don't have the ability to use a lot of the food they have for energy or as fuel, which will cause your body to think, hey, we need more, which causes you to overeat. That is the dangerous thing of linoleic acid. So what really happens to animals when the essential fatty acids are lacking in an otherwise adequate diet? Their metabolic rate is very high, their nutritional needs are increased, they are very resistant to many of the common causes of sickness and death. And so the answer to my experiments of being able to eat more without fat gain is very simple. We want to take actions to repair our cellular energy and metabolism while we are losing weight and not after the fact. This is done by, of course, cutting out seed oils and using common sense with our foods. If it has been on this planet for a long time and it replicates what we have done for centuries as humans, we should eat it. If God put it on this planet, that is our food. So when you go through this PUFA reduction in your diet, we want to focus on the right foods, which means a lot of ruminant animal meats, such as beef, lamb, and bison. Stick to eggs, dairy, seafood, fresh fruits, and root vegetables. When you eat foods like this, it puts your body into a state where it can efficiently use the food that you're using. It can digest it, it can absorb it, and actually not have any negative impacts on your hormones down the road. With this, you will have no trouble with fat loss, and you will achieve your weight loss goals over time without being neurotic about your health. I hope you found this one valuable. If you have any questions or any inputs about reducing sugars in your diet, put it down below and let us know, because I think we all need to be woken up to the fact of how detrimental this stuff actually is. So that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next video.